Hi everyone, Jason here, Robot Lawnmowers Australia. Today we're going to have a look at the Moebot X3. So this is the machine that's actually made by Sunseeker, the brand that manufactures the machine, the same as its bigger brother, the X3 and the X7 model here behind me, if you can just see it on the camera. This is a smaller machine, so it's going to be for smaller yards, and it basically is just sort of yet another wireless robot mower that's going to be able to work in suburban properties and with low satellite signal and things like that, because it does have a few smarts about it. So let's get into it and we'll find out what's inside the box. Okay, so in the top of the box, it's all fairly well packaged, all in sort of cardboard. Hopefully you can just see there. First thing in the box there is just a little stand here, which must be for the pole, for the RTK pole. And in the top of here, there's another box here, which says power supply. So I'm expecting that there's probably a power supply in it. And I am quite correct. So this power supply, this is a 2 amp 30 volt power supply, and I'm assuming that's actually for the charge station, but we'll find out as we go along. So after you get the top things off the top there, the top cardboard just comes off the top like that. There's nothing inside it. And we'll take the next box out of here, and it's got accessories box written on it, which I'm guessing is full of accessories. Okay, so inside the accessories box, we have a Moebot specific instruction manual, which goes through the app setup, basics about the robot and the robot setup. Doesn't look too terrible. There's this little envelope, which has got just some ground pegs for pegging down the charging station, and a few clips for clipping the wire up and down the pole for going, it's just going to mount it on its pole out of the ground. There's also another box inside the box, and that has got another box inside the box. It was inside the box. We'll see. This has got another paper bag inside that. Okay, so that is blades, and let's have a look, see how many they are, just so we can tell you exactly how many spare blades do come with the X3. See if we can do this without cutting my hands open. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blades, 6 spare blades. Also inside that packet we have these U-shaped pegs, and they're for actually pegging down the RTK charge station. They actually go in like this. I'm not a big fan of it, but it's just what they've got to peg this down onto the ground, which we'll get into in another setup video. There's yet more in here, guys. Oh, hang on, there might be screws for the blades. Let's open this one here first. Interesting little packets. They're actually like little foil lined paper packets with Ziploc on the top, so you can actually lock them down. They are screws and anchors for mounting the RTK reference station to concrete. Not bad anchors. Big, nice big stainless steel screws there. I'd probably still use another type of masonry anchor if I was going to mount it up. And in this packet, I actually think they might be the blade screws. And yes, they are. They are blade screws. So there's a little bit of dry Loctite on those screws as well. So when they go in, they don't come out. And they've got the big thick shank on the top there. They're actually not a bad screw and blade system that actually goes in these Sunseeker machines. Okay, that's everything inside that box, guys. We'll bring out the RTK antenna. So it's a little bit different to the X7 ones that we had before. Now I'm guessing these are probably the new generation that will come with the X7s later on. It has got a twin antenna system there, and it's got your GPS signal, your Wi-Fi signal, your super Wi-Fi signal, and your power on there as well. It's got a 900 megahertz antenna and a 2.4 gigahertz antenna on the side there for transmitting the Wi-Fi out. Now that also has there, guys, and I'll have to measure this, but that is quite a decent length of lead on that actually. Let's just do that now while I'm thinking about it. But that really is quite a decent length on the lead, but it isn't shortenable, so you have to use the entire lead. And like always, it turns into a dirty great big knot when you pull it out of the box. I'm sure there's a right way to do this, but which is clearly not the way I've done it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'd say it's probably 10 meters, guys. It might be a little bit longer than 10 meters, but that's a decent sort of a lead that comes with the antenna. Okay, there's another little box in here as well, which is, oh, it's actually got battery charger on this one. So the other power supply must be for the antenna or for the RTK. If this one has got power supply written on it. So that is a 3 amp charge or 3 amp power supply at 20 volt. So that's going to be your power supply for the actual robot. And then we have 2 poles for putting the RTK antenna into the ground, and like we said before, that just goes in through the bottom here as well. You know, it's going to go this way, and we screw that in there, such, and that can peg down to the ground, or you can use a shorter version of it to go on the side there, but then you can't turn the head of the antenna, so it's not exactly flexible in how you mount it. Because once you do that, you can no longer turn the actual head here. So we're going to need an L-shaped bracket to actually mount it off an eave. That's all the bits out of the box. Grab the robot out, and I'll just put him to the side for a second. Okay, then we've got the last bit of cardboard and the charging base come out. Okay, so there is our charging base. Very similar to the X7 model, or the Acre model, however you want to call it. Still got the GD matrix inside there, spring-loaded contacts on the top there, Moebot Sunseeker written on the top there as well. All very weatherproof. They actually are quite a decent design. That is actually a little magnetic strip in the center there. So that is interesting. I'm not sure, I don't think the Acre has that, so it looks like they might have changed the docking system to actually have a little magnetic strip there. And then again, you have your cable going out to the power supply, and this is not as long as the antenna, I don't think. No, that's not too bad. We didn't put in so many knots this time, guys. Okay, so that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd say 6 meters on that one, guys. 6 meters on the power cable, and then with the power supply, you've got another little bit here as well. So you've got a meter on the actual 240 volt side, and then you've got a very small amount on this side here. Just grab that cable there, plug him in there, just to make sure he's there. So 3 amp power supply, and then the robot. And here is the little guy. So, first impressions, I suppose, guys. It feels okay. It's very, very light. It's actually only 9 kilos, this machine. So it's a very, very light machine. Everything about it is very, very similar to how the other Acre and Sunseeker are made. Quick release wheels on the side there, so that's actually quite good if you have any issues with your wheels, nice and quick to replace. We'll go through the specifications soon, guys, so I won't go through much in the specification space. There's a little space there for the 4G module to go in. It was a question whether the 4G module actually fits in these guys, and it certainly does. But everything else is quite similar and similar build to how the X7's put together. Bumper on the front and the solid charge plates on the side there, and the binocular cameras and the LED light in the center there. So it really is quite good. We'll take the satisfying piece of plastic off it, like such. And we've got a manual height adjustment, 20 to 60 millimeters, and then the same screen as what the X7's got on with the stop button. Rain sensor on the side here. All in all, not a bad machine. Dimensions on this guy is 60 by 38 by, I believe it's 25, 60 by 38 by 25. So very compact machine. When that comes in and docks, it just comes through and pushes up against those front charge contacts. So they do dock quite well. I do prefer to call them Sunseeker. This is the elite model. So when you're comparing the specs of this to the Sunseeker machines, this is the Sunseeker Elite X3. Okay, so let's talk about connectivity and app that controls these guys. The new Sunseeker app is a much better app than what was originally out for these machines when they first came out a year ago, or probably a bit more of a year ago now. So the new app is actually significantly better And when we do our setup video, we'll go through and actually go through exactly how all the functions and features work in that app. But it is definitely a much better experience than what it was with the original app that they had with these machines. The connectivity on these guys, so Bluetooth for when you're actually connected to it and mapping and doing changes locally with the robot. Wi-Fi connection, which actually goes directly to the robot or through the antenna through that super Wi-Fi, and we'll talk about that in a second. And there's got the optional 4G connectivity or 4G module you can get for the machine. I'm assuming that it's the same module as what you put in the X7, but I don't know that for sure yet, so we're yet to confirm exactly how that goes. So the super Wi-Fi that they talk about with these guys, now it's really is actually quite a good system. Basically it's a 900 megahertz signal that basically amplifies the Wi-Fi from your house to the antenna, and then from the antenna out to the robot or the RTK reference station, base station, whatever you like to call your RTK reference station, and boosts that signal out. And that also carries the GNSS correction data. So all the data that comes from the antenna to the robot also goes through that super Wi-Fi connection. And the distance of that is really quite significant. I haven't tested these new antennas yet, but the previous ones I've tested up to around about 350, 400 meters. So I think they really do a fantastic job, and we're yet to really test exactly how good that Wi-Fi connection from your phone through the through your home internet and back to the robot, exactly how well that actually works. But we'll test all that review and testing videos after this. Okay, so specifications of this guy. So it is an 800 square meter machine. I believe you can map up to about 1,000 square meters. The mowing speed is yet to be tested for us, so we're not going to sure what we're going to recommend as far as the maximum area goes for these guys until we've actually tested it. The slope capacity is 30% or about 17 degrees thereabouts, because it is a two-wheel drive system and it's a front-wheel drive system. Front-wheel drive is very, very good at turning around when it gets down to the bottom of the hill and turning around to go back up the hill. But it's not as great at actually climbing the hill because the weight transfers to the back wheels when it's actually heading uphill, and you have less traction on the front wheels. So they're very good at turning around on borders, going downhill, not as good going uphill, which is why the slope capacity on these guys is being rated at 30% or 17 degrees, which is not a lot, but it's generally enough for most suburban yards. And the cutting deck system on these guys, floating deck again, which is what I really like to see with all robots. The floating decks are a great thing. The fixed decks have their reasons for being there, and sometimes they're actually the best thing to have as well, but floating deck generally keeps everything really nice and smooth and leaves a really good cut finish. 20 centimeter cut width on that guy, and like I said before, the manual cutting height adjustment of 20 to 60 millimeters. The battery in this guy, so they are a 4 amp hour battery, and again, I'll have to pull one actually out to see. There is a hatch there, 4 screws to actually pull that battery out. So we'll pull that out and actually prove that it has got a 4 amp hour battery in it. With a 4 amp hour battery, you're looking at somewhere around about a 1 hour runtime. Now, again, haven't tested it, so we'll get back to you exactly what we find with the testing of the runtime. The charge time is rated to be an hour. If it's a 4 amp hour battery and it's a 3 amp charge, then it's not charging certainly to 100% in an hour, unless the charge is actually charging at a faster rate than what it says. I suspect the charge time is going to be around about an hour and a bit for 0 or from 20% to 80%, and it's probably going to be another half an hour more to get to 100%, something along those lines. We will test it and we'll get back to you and tell you the exact results. The noise of these guys, 60 dB, very much the same as pretty much every mower on the market, so they're going to be fairly quiet machines. Now for the positioning system, so these run, I believe it is the same as the X7, but I'm not 100% sure, because Sunseeker always do go on about AI and how they map, how the computer actually identifies where it is, so it's probably getting better and better as time goes along. RTK, so real-time kinematics with this antenna, so it can position itself when it's got a reasonable view of the sky, and the antenna obviously has got to have a perfect view of the sky. So honestly guys, if you don't know much about RTK robot mowers and you're buying them, please call us, ask questions, make sure we can tell you and give you good advice on exactly where to put that RTK antenna. But after the RTK for these guys, so if they're in poor positioning, they use their binocular camera system, which is the 2 cameras on the front here, on either side of the LED light, or the headlight, I should say. And it also uses VSLAM technology in its programming to be able to actually use that camera vision to identify exactly where it is. And like I say, they talk about AI in these guys all the time, and I'm not 100% sure exactly how AI it is and how much it actually does in that front, but they obviously do talk about it quite a lot. Zone ratings, it goes up to 6 zones. So you can have six separate zones on this machine that you can map between and have obviously your pathways between. Hopefully it's got the same software or the same ability as the X7 where we can have multiple pathways or looped pathways going around from area to area and back to the charge station and things like that. So that's sort of it, guys. Conclusion on this guy. Look, it actually seems like it's going to suit the market quite well. We really need to do our testing on it, and hopefully we'll have a video out for our first test very shortly. But the way the docking system works on the X7, this is exactly the same. It should be a very, very reliable dock. The floating cutting system works really, really well. The machine really does feel like it's put together quite well. It feels actually like a slightly better build than the X7, to tell you the truth. So they do feel like a decent machine, and they're priced in about the right spot there. So the retail on these guys, I think, is actually $2,400 thereabouts. They're most likely going to be on sale most of the time. So you're going to be in and around that $2,000 mark, which competes with the Segway Navimow, which is right. It's in the same price bracket, doing about the same kind of lawn, doing about the same kind of job. So it's priced in the right place for the market. And all in all, I think it's going to be a fairly good robot mower, particularly for domestic yards. Front yards, backyards. It'll most likely be able to travel into fairly narrow spaces. Again, don't quote me, going to test it, show you the videos later. But yeah, really, I think it's going to be a fairly good machine. If you obviously want any questions answered about these guys or any other robot mower, please email us or give us a call. Email address is sales@robotlawnmowers.com.au. You can come into our showroom here at Underwood in Brisbane, or you can check out our website, www.robotlawnmowers.com.au. Heaps of information on there, or check out our socials, Facebook, TikTok and Instagram. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.